I wanted to get your take on something that's obviously extremely controversial and polarizing at the moment, because I've spoken with people from both sides, and I wanted to kind of, get your understanding of what's going on, in Israel and Palestine, because, I've talked to artists like Belly and, certain people who are extremely passionate, on the Palestinian side. And I've talked to some of my Jewish friends, and, I always stay away from subjects that I don't fully understand. And I think I might've saw you weigh in on what Andrew Yang said. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I did.
Yeah. So, for people who don't know, you're Jewish. What are your, I guess, kind of what's your consensus or your thoughts about everything that's going on, man?
So this is an incredibly complicated subject, and I'm not saying that just like in a light, generic way. It's a subject that sort of like, dominated conversation in my house my whole life. And like I went to Israel for the first time when I was 4 years old.
Right.
Israel's super important to my family and to all Jews. However, decency and empathy and critical thinking can allow us to have a lot of love for a place and still be critical. I am not going to oversimplify the entire thing, because the truth is Palestinians have been marginalized. They've been in many situations just treated like garbage, like just not treated in a humane way. And it's sickening and upsetting. And simultaneously, Israel's existence is important to the Jewish people. And there's some people who don't agree with that inherently. They do not believe Israel should exist. That is a real faction of people that exists. Unfortunately, right. Hamas is in that category, right?
Right.
So you have these people who have been caught in a terrible position, the Palestinian people. And we had opportunities at peace in the past with Rabin and Arafat, which were destroyed. And, now you have a really complex circumstance. But the bottom line is this. I hold the Israeli government to a high standard, because that's number one, because of the money, the power, the organization, the U.S. backing, and also because I'm Jewish and I believe in a Jewish state. So I hold, in my sense, my people, right, if you will, to a standard. I'm not some person who believes you just wave the flag of your country
blindly,
or whoever it is, willy-nilly. Like, right. I know this sounds silly and crude, but I always go back to sports, and I know you're a sports fan, Kev. So I love the Washington football team so much. I hate the owner. I publicly tell everyone I hate the owner. I want him to sell the team. I don't want him to have anything to do with the team. I first suggested and demanded the name be changed like 13 years ago or something on camera. That was the first time publicly.
Right.
I still love the team. I still rooted for the team while literally not wanting them to even have their name. I sort of look at the way we deal with our countries of origin the same way. Just because you love Israel and see its existence as important does not mean you have to believe in everything they do. And also, just because you're a Palestinian does not mean that you do or should ride with Hamas.
Right.
So it's a really bad situation. I think that Netanyahu has been generally terrible and generally
some of my Jewish friends have compared him to, like, if Trump won over there. Like, he's extremely right-wing, extremely...
He's only got more right-wing over the years.
Right.
Because that became a winning thing, because we're seeing this whole, like, real white nationalism all across the world. And he's ridden with going further right as the years have gone on. So, how could, if I felt the way I felt about Trump, which was that he was an absolute nightmare and the worst.
And guess what? You can still love America, by the way, and still feel that way. Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
And now I understand it's complicated for Jews, though, right? Because when we start hearing Israel get criticized, the history of the Jewish people isn't the same history as of America.
100%. Yeah,
America's like the white people of countries.
Right.
Like, it's going to be all right.
Yeah, I think that the thing that's hard is, like, obviously what I've noticed is anyone who has spoke out against the actions of the Israeli government, it seems as if they get labeled right away as being an anti-Semitic person.
Well, the thing is, you have to look at each individual's person separately.
That's fair, but I mean, I've seen like, I think Dua Lipa, they're trying to call her, you know, people who have just made statements that saying, you know, essentially, hey, what's going on is wrong. It seems like there's like a narrative that goes right away on Twitter, or, you know, that these people are quote unquote anti-Semitic, and I think that everyone can be, you know, critical of you know, like you said, you could be critical of a country or government's actions and still be with the Jewish people. You know what I mean? And, you know,